Okay, so here's our monitor chassis. Are these the wires that we were talking about earlier?
That's your yoke wires. On this one, the green and the yellow go to your vertical. The red and the blue go to your horizontal.
Okay.
This particular board isn't labeled like we just talked about with the numbers. It's probably because it's just an older board. But you can see where your vertical IC is from where the yoke's going right next to the IC.
Okay, so again, vertical problem, we're looking for that yellow wire. And then we're going to follow it down to here. And so probably some of these caps in this area are going to be real close, right? So
Most of the time they're real close to the IC.
right.
And if you're not sure, you can always look at the bottom of the board on the traces where the vertical IC soldered. Kind of follow some of the traces and look for the caps that are on them traces. But usually they're just right there next to the IC.
How do we know, we talked a little bit about this before, but I know I've fixed probably 50% of the monitors just by looking at them. And why is that? Because we got a lot of sophisticated equipment, we got stuff, but a lot of times a good pair of eyes help more than anything, right?
That's correct. And also knowing where the problem is. What kind of problem you have, what is that associated with as far as what section of the board or what components fail that would cause that problem.
Right. A few years ago, I'd be back over here replacing stuff.
It's kind of like if your car won't start, you ain't gonna go change your tire.
Right.
Try to fix it. You got to know where the problem is. So knowing what section of the board does what helps out tremendous to know where to start looking.
Okay. And so here we have the vertical section, and it looks like we got several caps in this area. So I guess the next thing is to remove the chassis,
Power down, remove the chassis, and
discharge the monitor, all those things that we've talked about before, and let's see if we can't find the cap that's causing this issue.
sounds good.
On this particular monitor, there were two caps right near that yellow line this yellow wire that came in that Michael was talking about. And you laid your money on the 100 microfarad one. Why?
Just through experience, 100 mics tend to fail. And the one right here next to the heat sink, it's right on the output of the transistor. That's where this one was, and it was bad.
Real close. Okay, so we got several ways that we can determine if a capacitor is bad. One, like I said, don't ever, we can feel it. A lot of times a bad cap will be swollen, have pronounced bulges, or sometimes I've even noticed the paint will be peeling.
If they got hot, sometimes they'll leak. You'll find residue on the board where they actually leaked.
Right. Don't mistake that from glue or
right,
silicone. But you'll know. You'll know if it leaks some.
But this one looked fine.
It looks just like a brand new one to me. So, and you were a good guess because it was bad. And let's talk about how we checked it and determined that it was bad. There's a couple different ways, right?
Yeah, there's several ways you can check it. First, my favorite is the ESR meter. I think we talked about before. You can check the caps in circuit with those. If you don't have one of those, you get you a flute meter that has a capacitance checker with it, and you have to take the cap out of the board and check it.
Right. And as you can see, we read that with the capacitance tester on his flute meter, and we read like 27. So 100 mic, let's say we wanted to make 100 on a test, and we scored a 27.
You failed.
Right. It's not just going bad. It's almost completely gone, right? Okay, so this guy goes in the trash, and we got another 100 microfarad at 35 volt. Now, let's say we didn't have a 35 volt, we had 100 at 50 volt. Could we use that one?
That's correct. You can always go up in voltage, never go down.
Right.
And
So,
a lot of people don't realize on your caps there's degrees, like 85 or 105.
yeah, what's that about? I've seen those before.
I like 105s. I always replace all the 85s. If I have an 85 that's bad, I always replace it with a 105. 105s will handle higher frequencies, especially in power supplies and stuff like that. And that's my preference.
Okay, so, I get most of my caps from cap kits that I order from Bob Roberts or from somebody like that. let's talk about a cap kit. You know, a lot of people ask me, what is a cap kit? And we might have discussed this before, maybe we can go into a little more detail. How do they determine a cap kit?
Well, a cap kit is great for someone that doesn't have any type of, knowledge or know how to fix something, because they can just kind of shotgun it like you were saying earlier, and hopefully it'll fix the problem. What a cap kit comes from is they take a schematic and look at the high rate components, high fail rate of components that will fail, and the most common problems that they found over research that fail, and that's what they include in the kit. You're not, in a cap kit, they don't supply every single cap that's on that board. So, you might have a cap that's not included in a cap kit that's actually bad, and your cap kit will not fix it. Cap kits are good, and they fix a lot of problems.
Right.
But there's not a guarantee it will fix your problem.
So if you do a complete cap kit that you get from somewhere, and you still have the same problem, you'll notice, maybe it's one of the caps that you didn't replace.
Right.
And those 100 microfarads are real common about going. So it's good to have some of those in your toolbox, right?
Right.
Okay.
And most Radio Shack, any place that sells this stuff, it's a common value.
Simple. Okay. Well, that's why we like to keep things real simple. I wanted to go into this. I wanted to learn how to repair monitors. And, I didn't go to school for electronics, but a lot of it's common sense.
It is.
Well, great job, Michael. As you can see, that one capacitor, that little bitty capacitor, made a huge difference on this screen. And so, a lot of times these are not complex, difficult problems. A couple minutes. And
a cap kit wasn't necessary. Just one capacitor, 89 cents, you're good to go.
Okay, so if you've been having trouble with the vertical lines across the top of going horizontally across the top of your screen like this, then you will know that it's probably just a cap on the board. And if you can find that vertical section, look for those 100 mics or something near there, right?
Yeah.
What about if it was your vertical IC? I noticed that you said a lot of times it's near the IC. What would it look like if it was your vertical IC?
Sometimes your monitor will not come on at all if the IC is shorted, but the most common symptom is just a straight line. You won't have any of the videos totally collapsed. You just have a single horizontal line. Yeah,
we've seen that a lot. Everybody always says a vertical collapse. That's what they're talking about. When it's got one single line across here, that IC has probably failed. So, man, we could fix a lot of monitors. If you knew those two things, you could probably fix a lot of monitors. So, anyway, we want to thank you guys for watching again today. We hope that you've learned something. By all means, if you have any questions or comments, just email or call us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks again for watching Arcade Repair Tips video series. Now, I did.